I think the types of individuals that would really benefit from the social presence aspect of a class, whether it be online or in a course, are people that go into professions or have fields of expertise where they deal with people on a normal basis. Myself, being an educator, taught 8th grade math for 5 years, now going into school administration. I went from dealing with 120 kids a day and up to 10 plus staff members to now being where if I wasn't a graduate assistant in Watson, I could be sitting at my house all day by myself just doing assignments. Being able to have that interaction with people was really, really important to me.
I think the future can be very bright. I think it needs to be out there. It needs to be an option for people because, yes, it is important for some people to have their own lives, and then they can maybe take class online at night and get a degree that way, which is great, but they also need to realize it is very important. It's not just something you can push aside and wait till the end of the semester to do. But starting earlier, maybe in high school, once they get to college, they have all this freedom, and then a freedom of an online class is like, whoa. So it's maybe starting them there and teaching them how to utilize an online class, because a lot of people might come in and not know how to even go about doing something. So I think the future is bright.
I just hope that faculty and other staff members at universities really consider before moving more programs to only online or to hybrid. I think hopefully if we can get more feedback from students on what they do prefer and what style works for them, I just think that is going to be vital in guaranteeing success and satisfaction with students and student retainment, because again, I was fully aware I was in a hybrid program prior to enrolling. However, I didn't know what that meant or what it looked like. And now I do see that it is not the best style of learning for me. And I would prefer to be in a fully face-to-face program. So I think really making sure students understand what it means and what it looks like to be hybrid or fully online is very important.
Just based on my own experiences, I probably prefer the hybrid. So I don't know if I see too much of a future for just purely online learning, but with online learning plus in face-to-face, I do see that there would be a bright future for them.
I would just say for professors, just the professors that do teach the classes, to have them know that we're all in this together. And a lot of the ones that I have had have been very open to emailing, even office hours coming in and actually having that interaction, which is great. Distance education learners might not be able to do that, but the people who are local, just in having the professor be available as much as they can, because that is a hard thing to do. So I think it goes both ways. The professor and the students have to be willing to work together to make it work. So.
The future of online learning, whether it's K-12 or higher ed, is kind of limitless. I remember as an undergrad using the Blackboard format that we currently use now, and what we use now is light years ahead of what it was, and that was 5 years ago. Things that things that I am asked to do now could have never happened back in 2009, which doesn't seem like that long ago, but it's unbelievable. I've watched many of my students as an educator have access to courses online through NCVPS, North Carolina Virtual Public Schools, that we didn't have staff eligible to teach. So you've got some kids that need that extra push, or they may do it for a credit recovery or some other item where budget, that's a huge issue, cannot fund an actual individual to come into your school and do it, but the online ability makes that happen. That differentiation piece is so big, and I think that is the key with the online learning that's going to continue to allow it to evolve, because obviously there's always going to be people that need to sit in a traditional classroom and have somebody stand in front of them and talk and instruct and lead, but you've got some students that don't care one thing about sitting in a classroom amongst people, because it physically is difficult for them to do, but they are just as smart and they're brilliant, and they can thrive in a setting where they're given almost like the professor or the instructor is a tour guide saying, here's the module, run with it.
Nobody has a crystal ball, but don't you just keep seeing it like growing and growing and growing? I don't even think you can imagine what it's going to look like, because I couldn't even imagine 10 years ago how interactive an online course could be. And I look at my children, and they're 9 and 4. My child the other night, he's 4. We said our prayers, and he said, I want to thank God for my iPad mini and my Kindle Fire. He's 4. So what does that mean for him when he goes, next year my child will be in 4th grade. He's not getting a textbook. He's getting a Chromebook tablet that's going to have his books on it. So I can't even tell you what it's going to look like, because I just think we can't even imagine how interactive it's going to be, and it's here to stay. And I think it's great. It gives so many students the opportunity to access post-secondary education that didn't have the opportunity. You can log on anytime you want. I couldn't go back to school if I didn't have the online component. There's no way. And so it's interesting to be a part of it now, but I think in a few years I'll look back on it and be like, gosh, WebEx was such an old technology, or Blackboard was such an old technology. And I don't know, it'll be very amazing to see what my children experience in high school, and then I can only imagine what online is going to look like in college.